Okay, we'll start in a minute. So is everyone excited that Christmas is so near? It's just in about 4 days.
No.
No.
Finish, be over with.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question before you get into it so that we don't take up too much time in the lecture?
Is that you, Leonie?
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got a question about your assignment of cases. I noticed today that a case that, I've got to get this right, a case that I have chosen and that you assigned to Monique Tudman, covers the same issue. Is that a problem?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just thought that they had to be spread out over the weeks, that was all. We seem to have, like, a couple of the cases seem to touch on the same issue.
You're actually part of the same team, right? You're in the same group?
Yeah, part of the same team.
And the case that was assigned to Monique touches on the same issue that you chose. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem, because the important thing is, as far as the cases that I assigned, I simply assigned them simply because no one else took them. And so the goal was to make sure that we cover all the cases that are in the list of key cases.
Yep.
And I simply disregarded whether or not, as far as the group is concerned, it may actually be on a topic that has already been covered in one of the cases. So I disregarded that. Otherwise, it was going to be very complicated if I had to factor that in as far as the random assignment that I did on the cases.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to double check, that was all.
Okay, so we could probably begin. So welcome everyone to week 6, and we're obviously halfway through the end of the term, and then we're off to a short Christmas break starting next week. And well, I think that for a lot of people, this is one time when they're beginning to feel like, a bit more relaxed, not really focused on getting things done. But that's probably good because it's obviously Christmas. So let me start this tutorial by wishing everyone an advance Merry Christmas. And so tonight, as we've always done, you don't know me at all. What's that from Jess? I'm not sure what that means, Jess. Oh, you're far from relaxed. Okay. Oh, so this is probably a good topic, laughing towards happiness. Jess? So I think this is going to be a good topic for you, laughing towards happiness. If you feel like you're not relaxed, I think after this short session, you should be. I'm hoping you should be. Okay, so we're going to spend the first 10 minutes dealing with a topic on happiness for learning. And for this session, we're going to be talking about laughing towards happiness. Again, our view was that I seem to have missed a slide. I don't know where it went. Okay. I wonder where that, so I had a slide here that's missing. So we will recall that at our first session, we talked about, so we're just going to do a quick recap. In the first session, we talked about the importance of happiness, mainly because I think everyone wants to be happy. It's difficult to conceive of anyone who doesn't want to be happy. And oftentimes, we might say that when people want to be successful, perhaps in their career, perhaps, have a successful relationship, the reason is because they think that these lead towards happiness. And I had suggested at the first Happiness for Learning mini workshop that it's not so much about being successful so that you can be happy. It's actually quite the reverse. Based on studies, you should actually be happy in order to be successful. And the reason for that is that studies show, and you probably know a lot of people who seem to be successful in terms of their careers. They probably have plenty of money, maybe, and yet they seem to be unhappy. And yet we encounter people who might be considered to be less successful, perhaps not even successful at all by societal standards, and yet they seem to be happy and contented. And as we said in the first session, when we speak of happiness, we're looking at the concept of happiness from a very broad viewpoint. So it can be about joy, it can be about a sense of amusement, it could be about a sense of positivity, following the definition that is propounded by Professor Carol Dweck and Barbara Fredrickson on what comprises positivity and what comprises happiness. So that was the first thing we did. And I think in the second session, we talked about the importance of paying attention to what makes you happy. And again, that is a crucial point, because oftentimes, we come across something that makes us happy, but then after a while, the value of that thing that made us happy wanes, it disappears. It could be that, you have a promotion, you got a grade of high distinction in your unit, you encountered who you thought was the love of your life. And after a while, reality sets in, and this doesn't seem to be the Prince Charming. And this, what is that? So if it's not Prince Charming, it's somebody else. And then you begin to be unhappy. And what research tells us is that we need to refocus. We need to pay attention on things, because things that made us happy before, through time, because of adaptation, we forget about them. But if we refocus our attention on those things, we then begin to appreciate the good things about our partner, or about our jobs, or about our grades. Then we begin to be happy. So that was the second point, the need to pay attention. That's why the term there is pay. You're actually paying for it. You're paying it with your attention. Now, the third thing we talked about at the last session was about the need for journaling, and the idea being that we're in a better position to understand our thought processes. We're in a better position to analyze what makes us sad, or even analyze what makes us happy, but actually doing a process known as journaling, and putting our thoughts on paper. Because assuming you were confronted with a problem, assuming you were trying to find ways and figure out whether or not you're happy, it's difficult if they're just all in your head. But once you put them on paper, you can actually keep on going back to them. One, as a way of paying attention to what makes you happy, but in another sense, the idea of putting things on paper enables you to actually, analyze things, and make you, put you in a better position to figure out, whether or not you should be happy about this or not. And if you're not, what should you do? And so the fourth, at this session, we will talk about, there are 10 of you. We're going to talk about the value of laughing towards happiness. One of the key research that has been identified is that even the act of trying to put a pencil or a pen in between your lips, so that it kind of resembles an act of smiling, actually triggers some certain physiological changes in your body. So much so that when people, and this is based on experiments, okay? I'm sharing the experiments with you. So much so that the experiments indicated that people who were made to kind of mimic that smiley face, even if they were not really happy, actually ended up feeling better, feeling more positive. On the other hand, people who were forced to watch, for example, a video that made them sad, ended up being unhappy, even if they were on their own. They were actually happy in their own lives, but the fact alone that they were exposed to something that made them sad had an effect on them negatively. And it is crucial, therefore, to remember the importance of happiness, not so much just because we all want to be happy, but because according to studies of Barbara Fredrickson, and according to what is now known as the broaden theory, or build and broaden theory, when a person is actually happy, that person is able to see bigger things. The person is able to see a wider picture. That person is able to see a wider perspective of things, as opposed to somebody who is unhappy. The focus is so narrow, that person begins to fail to appreciate the good things that are happening and ignore crucial information. And so the research of Barbara Fredrickson, who is a foremost authority on happiness, suggests that there is a very important role in happiness, mainly because it allows us to grow and allows us to see the bigger picture, so that we're able to see, perhaps we might say, life in its full glory, instead of focusing on the minute moments of our lives that make us quite sad or unhappy. So having said that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to invite you to watch a video. And because, at some point we want to be experts, right? You want to be lawyers, you need to be an expert in the law. And especially for Jess, I dedicate this video to Jess. And this is a video, I think, which you might enjoy, because this is a video of an expert. Okay, so let's see. So, the important thing is we can't be too serious about a lot of things, okay? So let's take a moment to just have a break. This is 7 minutes.
Brought them along today.
Okay.
Our company has a new strategic initiative to increase market penetration, maximize brand loyalty, and enhance intangible assets. In pursuit of these objectives, we've started a new project for which we require 7 red lines. I understand your company can help us in this matter.
Of course. Walter here will be the project manager. Walter, we can do this, can't we? Yes, of course. Anderson here is our expert in all matters related to the drawing of red lines. We've brought him along today to share his professional opinion.
Nice to meet you. Well, you all know me. This is Justine, our company's design specialist. Hello. We need you to draw 7 red lines, all of them strictly perpendicular, some with green ink and some with transparent. Can you do that?
No, I'm afraid... Let's not rush into any hasty answers, Anderson. The task has been set and needs to be carried out. At the end of the day, you are an expert. The term red line implies the color of the line to be red. To draw a red line with green ink is, well, if it's not exactly impossible, it's pretty close to being impossible. What does that even mean? Impossible? I mean, it is possible. There are some people, say, suffering from color blindness, for whom the color of the lines doesn't really make a difference. But I'm quite sure that the target audience of your project doesn't consist solely of such people.
So in principle, this is possible.
I'll simplify. A line as such can be drawn with absolutely any ink, but if you want to get a red line, you need to use red ink. What if we draw them with blue ink? It still won't work. If you use blue ink, you'll get blue lines. And what exactly did you mean when you talked about the transparent ink?
How to explain? I'm sure you know what transparent means.
Yes, I do.
And what a red line means. I hope I don't need to explain to you.
Of course not.
But you need to draw a red line with transparent ink.
Could you describe what you imagine the end result would look like?
Oh, come on, Anderson. What have we got here? Kindergarten.
No, I'm just trying to
No, let's not waste our time with these unproductive quarrels. The task has been set. The task is plain and clear. Now, if you have any specific questions, then go ahead.
You're the expert here. All right. Let's leave aside the color for the moment. You had something there also relating to perpendicularity.
7 lines, all strictly perpendicular.
To what?
To everything amongst themselves. I assumed you know what perpendicular lines are like.
Of course he does. He's an expert. 2 lines can be perpendicular. All 7 can be simultaneously perpendicular to each other. I'll show you. This is a line, right?
Yes.
And another, is it perpendicular to the first line?
Well,
yes, it is perpendicular.
exactly.
Wait, I'm not done. And a third one, is it perpendicular to the first line? Yes, it is. But it doesn't cross the second line. They're both parallel, not perpendicular.
Oh, suppose so.
There it is. 2 lines can be perpendicular.
Can I have the pen? How about this?
This is a triangle. It's definitely not perpendicular lines. And there are 3, not 7. Why are they blue?
Indeed, I wanted to ask that myself.
I have a blue pen with me. This was just a demonstration.
That's the problem. Your lines are blue. Draw them with red ink.
It won't solve the problem. Well, how do you know before you've tried? Let's draw them with red ink, then let's see.
I don't have a red pen with me, but I'm completely certain that with red ink, the result will still be the same.
Didn't you tell us earlier that you could only draw red lines with red ink? In fact, yes, I've written that down here. And now you want to draw them with blue ink. Do you want us to call these red lines?
I think I understand. You're not talking about the color now, right? You're talking about that what do you call it?
Perpendicularity, yes!
That's it. Now you've confused everyone. So what exactly is stopping us from doing this?
Geometry.
Just ignore it.
We have a task. 7 red lines. It's not 20, it's just 7. Anderson, I understand you're a specialist of a narrow field. You don't see the overall picture. But surely it's not a difficult task to draw some 7 lines.
Exactly. Suggest a solution. Now, any fool can criticize. No offense. But you're an expert. You should know better.
Okay. Let me draw you 2 perfectly perpendicular red lines, and I will draw the rest with transparent ink. They'll be invisible, but I'll draw them.
Would this suit us? Yes, this will suit us. Yes, but at least a couple with green ink. Oh, and I have another question, if I may. Can you draw one of the lines in the form of a kitten?
What?
In the form of a kitten? Market research tells us our users like cute animals. It would be really great if we...
No.
Why?
Look, I can of course draw you a cat. I'm no artist, but I can give it a try, but it won't be a line anymore. It'll be a cat. A line and a cat. These are 2 different things.
A kitten, not a cat, but a kitten. A little, cute, cuddly. Cats, on the other hand,
It won't make a difference.
Anderson, at least hear her out. She hasn't even finished speaking and you're already saying no.
I got the idea, but it's impossible to draw a line in the form of a cat. Done.
What about a bird?
So, where do we stop? What are we doing?
7 red lines, 2 with red ink, 2 with green ink, and the rest with transparent. Did I understand correctly?
Yes.
Excellent. In which case, that's everything, right?
Oh, I almost forgot. We also have our red balloon. Do you know if you could inflate it?
What do I have to do with balloons?
It's red.
Anderson, can you or can you not do this? A simple question.
As such, I can, of course, but...
Excellent. Organize a business trip. We'll cover the expenses, go over to their location, inflate the balloon. Well, this is very productive. Thank you all.
Okay. So, I don't know if that, I wonder if that was helpful to you guys, but oftentimes when I'm in need of a laugh, that's what I do. I watch videos that are funny. Okay.